Get over yourself. You are the reason that you're being held back. No one else. You. Get over yourself. And I'm going to start the video off like that because I feel, I've noticed and seen and been around a lot of people. And I feel like their pride gets the best of them. Their emotions gets the best of them. Now, granted, I believe we got pride confused with self-respect. You always have self-respect. That's a given. But your pride, we have masked our self-respect with pride. Now we're just prideful and we do not allow ourselves to grow. Now here's why I say that. First and foremost, I'm going to use me as an example. Let's take me for example. Let's take my story for example. Because usually that's how all my stories go, is because either I had an experience or it is my experience, and I just try to explain the best way I can for those that's viewing or listening. I started in a small town area where not much happens, right? There's not much opportunity. There's nothing really available. And if there are, you wouldn't know about it, right? There's just anything that can benefit you and better you, it's not being talked about a lot. So growing up, only thing in your mind is if you have within that you want to do better than your peers and your surroundings, you're gonna be drawn to those things. It starts with the mindset. So growing up in this small town, I knew that all my actions that I was getting myself into weren't good ones. I came to a realization very early. So once I got out of high school and went to college, once I got out of high school, I knew I wanted to go away to college. I didn't want to go to a local college or any remote. I didn't want to go to any college that was close to home because I knew that I needed to gain the experiences that I never experienced before, and I will only do that if I'm being far off, being around people that I've never seen, or being around different people and different ideals out there. So it started off like that. Went off to school and I learned a lot. I was able to see my faults and grow myself and just kind of mold myself to be this person that I truly want to be. We're gonna fast forward out of school. You graduate. You get all your life going. You know, you start working in corporate America. You do these things. You get invested, and you're doing pretty well. You're maintaining, right? You're doing better. However, there's still some faults. There's still some parts where you're hitting the wall, but you're bouncing back. You're hitting the wall, bouncing back, hitting the wall, but you always bounce back. That was it. If you hit the wall, you always bounce back. Fast forward 5 years later, and you've finally start making decisions for yourself. You finally start allowing those around you, and you start allowing those around you, family members, friends, whomever. You stop them from persuading you to change your direction, and you started taking action in your own direction. You finally start doing that, and it feels good. It feels good to know that you are on your path and nothing is influencing you. That's what I was looking for. You finally got to that point. You're growing. You're like a sponge, man. You're soaking up all this information because you know. And matter of fact, you're writing it down. You're soaking all these information. You're documenting all these experiences because you know there's a lot of young ones under you that would also be in this situation. If you can be just a little guidance to them, to get them in that mindset early, then you know you did your job. So you finally started living your own life. You got your nice, decent remote job, paying your bills with one check and being able to save the next. You get to the area that you always wanted to get at. You've been striving to get here. And you finally did. You got there. And you're soaking up everything. You're experiencing. You're having a good time. This is the best year that you ever had in a long time. There's been no place that I can call home. I finally can call this place my home. You start to do new things. You're starting to learn and unlearn things, to learn newer things. You start to invest. But then something happened. A storm came. A pretty bad storm. And you saw it coming. However, the times have changed. In those 5 years, times have changed drastically. You notice that once you hit this wall, it won't be an immediate bounce back. No, this is something I didn't see or foreseen. This is something I wasn't prepared for. Granted, you lost your job. That was the first part of the storm. You was in the process of losing your job. Let me say that. You was in the process of losing your job. And you started a lot of things. You did. And you was managing it well. Finances. And being able to manage the work in between. You were doing it good. You were doing it well. However, that storm came. And you did everything in your power to prepare for the storm. Everything in your power. You even drew back all the experiences from before. And you picked up writing. And you picked up a profound technique of writing. Writing where it's almost foreshadowing. You almost can foresee the future. When you write it down, it almost happened every time. I really don't want to say it. I'm going to say it usually happens. Once you write it down, it usually comes true. Because you are in the deep thought. You're pausing, you're thinking. And you're not just thinking off emotion. No. You're critically thinking. Good, bad, ugly, the ultimate worst. And that was your writing technique. And when you saw this storm coming, and realized this won't be an immediate bounce back, because there were other things at play, but you was managing. And in the process of getting better. You was in the process of getting everything in the surrounding better, i.e. being your vehicle, i.e. being social status, i.e. being just personal life. You were starting to develop a better life. However, this storm halted everything. And before I knew it, before the storm came, I said, you know what? Let me start writing things down. Let me write the good, the great, good, bad, ugly, and downright awful. So you begin to write. And you write, and you write, and you write, and you plan, and you plan. And there's something that you told yourself before. Once you get out, you stay out. It's the bottom line. Once you get out, you stay out. You've already been back once. You've already been back twice. I do not want to be back a third time. You begin to write. You begin to plan. And you plan so freaking well. Now, granted, this plan is not going to be pretty. It's going to be the ugliest plan that you've ever seen. And not ugly as in you didn't do the proper planning for it. Ugly as in you're going to go through some things that you would not expect. And I knew there was going to be a lot of things that I wouldn't go expecting. It was going to be rough. So I began to write. And every time I come to the conclusion or the finish of my plan to get back on my feet, because I saw the storm. The storm was going to clear the slate clean. Noah's Ark. I was building my Noah's Ark. It was a flood happening. It was going to wipe it clean. So I planned. And the plan had me doing things, going back to places I didn't want to go, enduring things that I knew I had to endure. I had two plans. The first plan was going back and doing the things that I had to endure, knowing damn well I had no interest whatsoever. I knew it was going to be very tough, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And the other plan, which would be the typical plan that usually everyone would choose, that tells me even today, I'm finally coming to the end of my plan and being around, family, whatever, friends. They talk about the second plan. However, the second plan, usually when people talk about the second plan, and that's usually try to stay and work locally. Usually when they pick that second plan, it's because they didn't allocate for a lot of other different things. They only allocate for the emotion. The second plan is always emotional, always emotional. The second plan is always emotional. The first plan is straight up critically thinking. The second one is straight based off emotion. I do not want to go back. Because I hate it there. I'm going to have to endure so much that I know I do not. It's going to be awful. Your physical feelings is going to be hurt. That's the second plan. And I know people's going to choose that. But I knew that I wanted to come back, be stable, and bounce back even harder. This might not be an immediate bounce back, but I want to come back extremely harder. I want to never, ever, ever be in this situation. If this storm will come again, I want to never have to be clean slate. I want to never. So I knew that first plan was going to be it. So I began to pack up everything, and I go back to the place that I did not want to go, back to this small town. And I pack everything. I physically and mentally get myself prepared, but the more I prepare, the worse things got. Because once you try to even strengthen your mental about it, it feels like it gets worse. It gets worse. Like the thought of it gets worse. So your emotions take a dive. Your demeanor your whole person take a dive. So I began to pack everything up. I'm throwing things away because where I'm going, I don't need these things. Like I began to throw bed frames and items I threw everything away because I knew where I was going. I needed to be limited. And all this was everything that I did was part of the plan. Part of the plan that I written out. Everything had to be limited. Everything. I had one trip. Because of course I didn't have much to my name because the storm came in the middle of nowhere. Middle of time. So I began my voyage back to, I wouldn't say the small town. I said the state of the small town. And I didn't go too far. I tried to bridge a middle ground. So I went somewhere closer of the state, but not all the way to the small town. So by the time I could even reach where I was, my destination, because I had to make some phone calls. I had to do things that I did not want to do. And by the time I get there, I say it was Christmas Eve around this time. Christmas Eve, and on the way down, my vehicle gives out. And my vehicle have given me problems. And it's something it's something that I knew of, something I planned for as well. So I had to add that in the plan. So I knew my vehicle was giving me problems. I knew one day it was going to give out. It was an old vehicle. It was a 2002 Escalade Cadillac. It's been through the ringer. But I knew that it was going to give out one day. I just didn't think it was going to be that day. Christmas Eve. Car full. Trunk full. And, halfway to the voyage, It gives out. Hole in the ship. Hole in the ship begins to sink. And at this point, when things start to happen, it's like putting a nail. It's just popping balloons at this point, you know. It's like it only got worse. You know, it was only getting worse too. And I know what you're gonna say. You know, it's all about the mental. It's all about how you view things. Well, there was no lying to myself. It was getting worse. Now, however, I digest every situation that happened, and as things happened, I felt the emotion. I processed it, and then I kept going. But it got worse. So my truck gets out, and I had some family member, my uncle, man. My uncle, shout out to my uncle, bro. Shout out to my uncle. Like I tell people all the time, if you don't have nobody that you can go to and kind of just talk about anything, or just whatever, like, you know, like I'm getting choked up. Excuse me. A lot of times, people don't have a lot of family members they can go to. They don't. And you hear these days you should be family oriented and be close to your family, but not everybody have that luxury that you can discuss and talk about things unbiased, and that will talk to you through pausing and thinking instead of just straight off emotion. There's not that many people that you can do that. So I always tell people, man, if you can have just one person, just find one person that you can have that with. It makes things a whole lot better. So, shout out to my uncle. My uncle came, saved to the rescue. And the crazy thing, he was going out that night. It's Christmas Eve, guys. He was going out that night with a friend of his from Norway. I'm gonna save name and save face because, you know, I don't want to, you know, put that information out there without their permission. But they was going out that night, Christmas Eve, and they have buzzed up. And they get a call from me, and I'm on the side of the road, man. So they come to the rescue. It's dark, it's cold, lifeless at this point. I'm gonna speed this story up. But they come to the rescue, and, you know, my things had to sit on the road for a while because it's Christmas Eve and hardly no one is working on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day to, you know, pull my vehicle, you know, tow man. So it sat out there for a while. So my uncle helped me by using his car. I drove back and forth, get some stuff out, get the main things out, and carry it back until we can get a tow man. Eventually the tow man came, and, you know, we got my vehicle at his place, and it's been sitting for a while. But we get there, and of course, I'm staying with this uncle. I think I stood with this uncle. I stayed with this uncle for 6 months, I believe. I stayed with this uncle for 6 months. And in the beginning, you know, when you have no money, no job, no place, no car, you got some access now. Your uncle allow you to have some type of vehicle access. You gotta have that. And you utilize this car. And I'm saying and a lot. I mean, I gotta come back sometimes. You know, I still think it's crazy to me, man. It's crazy to me. But I'm gonna try to skip some stuff because I don't want to make this video too long. But you stay with this uncle for 6 months, and everything that you made for yourself, you created yourself and create your surroundings, is being challenged. I'm one to. I like to be alone. I don't have loneliness, but I like to be alone. And my uncle is very family oriented. Very, very family oriented. And I appreciate that for him. I appreciate everyone for being themselves and not afraid of being themselves and being that different person. If that's who you are, that's who you are. Because I may dislike it, because I did. But by him being that, and didn't falter, it allowed me to start looking at myself and wonder why I was this way, and then I started to take a deeper dive into my actions and how my thinking process, and I began to develop a newer me by being around my uncle, because it made me look at myself. I had to take a dive, man. I had to take a dive into my own soul and realize what's going on. You know, being around my uncle, it allowed me to see a lot of different perspectives. It allowed me to kill my old self. You know, why I'm so emotionally unavailable. Why am I so distant? Why am I not family oriented? And I start to realize these things, and and you know, there's moments that people say I cannot recall my childhood. It's like blank spots here and there. And during those 6 months, one random day I was exercising, and it hit me. And I realized that a lot of times that we don't recall our past is because we got some embedded trauma that hasn't been discovered, and it's buried. Like there's moments, there's these systems that your body has to where it will hide things because of trauma. Long story short. And I realized that, and it made me cry. I just started crying profusely. Like, just regular. As soon as I realized that the trauma that I was holding on to, like, I was just regular, and I was just tears were flowing. I couldn't even stop it. So there was a lot of things I learned being my uncle, being in that moment, being in that atmosphere, just being in a different world. I was in a different world. And my uncle allowed me to use his car. Let me get back to the story. I just want to say that and continue on. My uncle allowed me to use his car, and I knew mentally all I had to do, once you get yourself better, it's all about the mindset, a change of mindset, change of pace. So I knew mentally that I just have to keep going. Keep going where? Just keep going and keep doing something. So I will create something for me to do. I create habits. I wake up early. I go grab a cup of coffee, and see if I can grab something to eat and a water. And I go to the library, and I go to the library or Starbucks, and I'll work on something. That at the time, that's where I stopped picking up Blender, because Blender was free, and it allowed my mind to learn. It allowed my mind to learn and be in a different headspace. So that's what made me pick up Blender. And but if you don't know what Blender is, it's a 3D software. It's a 3D platform where you can create things. Create things like, the box, the donut. But yeah, I did the donut as well, and I'm continuously in my learning journey. But yeah, I had a process. Wake up and do the same thing Monday through Friday, and if my uncle would have something, he'll usually do something on the weekend and go from there. But he helped me out. He helped me out a lot, emotionally and spiritually. Helped me out a lot. And one day, I got a haircut, and I was going to buy a book. I'm gonna speed this story up, I promise. One day I got a haircut. I was in there, still with my uncle, and I was going to buy this book. And on the way to buy the book, this card cuts out, the card that he allows me to use. And if you know, one thing you can't and shouldn't do is break things. The worst of that is breaking someone else's things. That's the whole reason why your parents always tell you not to borrow things. But things happen, bro. Like a lot, and granted, it all depends on that other person as well. Not everyone is mature and an adult. They're just kids and grown people bodies. But not everyone's mature and an adult to where, they'll be understanding and unbiased. So the card gives out, and the card gives out the same exact way my truck gave out. And I said to myself, I promise you, throughout this whole, granted, it was a fixer-upper. I said to myself, I promise you, I bet you this car hasn't done this ever. Because it gave out the same way my car gave out, the same exact way. So come here for a second. Your vehicle gives out. You got somebody else's vehicle. Shit is hitting the fan. Shit is hitting the fan hard. You are maintaining barely. And the only vehicle you have gives out the same way yours give out. You're someone else's vehicle. Mentally, you're fucked. I sat there for a while and I said to myself, I know this vehicle never gave this problem before. Why is it giving this problem now? So I sat there for a while and I called him. I said, such and such, this was going on. He came out there and I feel bad. I do. However, work out in the end. But I felt bad and we couldn't work on it. It was in the middle of the road, in the median. And so we had to leave it there and it was gonna come back in the morning. And the story is funny because we are people that will want to fix things right now without doing it later. Like, let's do it now, get out the way. So later on that day, my aunt, his wife, had to go do something. And she had the only car at the time. And knowing me, if I had a vehicle, I would have went out there and tried to fix it or look at it. Whole time, my uncle was having the same idea. So if my aunt, his wife, would have came home that same night, because she came home late, because she was back home with her mother and family. She came home late. If she would have came home that night, he would have went out there by himself to go fix it. Or we would have went together. He probably would have went by himself. But that never happened. She never came. She came home late. So we end up going the next morning. We drive out there. We get to the location where the car is at. We see some rubble. What the freak happened to the car? The car was just here not too long ago. Where's all this junk? The car was right here. Like, what the freak going on? It's like, all right, somebody done towed it away. So we call the nearest tow people. Hey man, y'all got such and such type of car? I said, nah, we don't. The first one hung up. As soon as he hung up, ring, bing, you called for that car? Yeah. Oh, it's total. Total? What you mean? Yeah, it's total. Come check it out. Like 4 minutes down the road. We get to the location and the car is bent backwards. It's total. It's full. It was almost like a Rubik's Cube and stuff. But it was total. It was total. And he told us that a drunk driver came around, I say about 1 a.m., full speed around the corner and crashed it head on, totally. That driver was, he was safe. He didn't get any bruises or anything. Well, he got bruises, but he was alive. He made it. He didn't get like really hurt or anything. But yeah, the car was total. So now I'm like, yo, this car got total under my watch. So now it puts an even more damper on me as well. All right, fast forward. Let's see. So I'm feeling pretty bummed about it. So now I have no vehicle again, and now I gotta change up my set of routines again. So I'm trying to get used to this new set of routines. But again, it's pretty tough. So I started to add in new things. So I started to put because I had a home office. So I started to put my desk up. Why? I didn't have a home office there. Of course, I had a home office in my own location. So I started to put my things up. And so I can have access, because I can't go anywhere now, right? And granted, my vehicle, it was total. I want to kind of tie that knot. It was total. I tried working on it, but of course I didn't have the money to continuously work on it, and we had to get rid of it because we got a complaint and it had to go. So it was gone, right? And if anyone asks, I put the trust in someone to get rid of it, and they did what they did and whatever. Where was I at? So yes, I'm back to trying to create new routines, and that I did. And of course, you pick up a drinking habit during these times because you go out and you're just like, all right, I just want to feel okay. So you start to drink a little bit and have a good time when you try to. Your uncle invites you to things, because like I said, he's family oriented, so he's going to do a lot of things. So there was multiple times where you would go out and have a good time. There's also some few videos that I have that's insane. Like, I had too much of a good time. But when you're in those moments, you drink because you want to get away. So of course you might overdrink and might have an overly good time. But fast forward. I believe around, I said this in the last video, during the Do Dreams Have Meaning video, because I talked about it, but I said the dates wrong. Bro, it really didn't feel like it happened that long ago, man. But we lost someone. She's like a sister. I'm gonna say a sister. It was my cousin, but she was a sister to all, because we was all close knitted growing up. So that's how we viewed it, and that was his niece as well. And we lost her due to a terrible car crash, and that really didn't help. And right now we're still making changes to where I don't know. Long story short, it was, yeah, we're still I slow down. We lost someone, and that didn't help at all. So we pushing forward time frame. I think after 6 months I began a different journey. 6 months I have finally found some form of light. I started to get back with jobs. Of course, I didn't add that part in because I didn't feel like it was necessary. But of course, during that course of time, you're looking for work and you're just not getting any feedback, right? You're looking for work and not getting any feedback. And I don't even think this video is supposed to go like this, but it's going. I was looking for work at the time, and you're not getting any feedback, you're getting rejection. So in 6 months, I got some light, right? I got some light, and it was a job working with a friend of mine. And so I moved with my aunt because it would be better for me to get to the job back and forth. So I moved with my aunt, and I stayed there for a while. And I work at it. It was more of like one of those places where you just get in and get out. I didn't do any paperwork. Like the same day, like they didn't even want to hire me. And I really think because I don't know, they was doing like a lot of undermining stuff, a lot of under the table stuff. Not undermining, probably though, but like a lot of under the table stuff. And they didn't want to hire me. It was because of my friend that really got me in there. He was like, just show up, bro. So I just showed up, and the same day I just showed up, I was already, they had me on a truck going across the state. I'm with two random people doing a job I know nothing about. So I'm assuming that was just job shadowing, but I did no paperwork, none, zero. So, I worked there for a whole week because when you go off, you stay off in the hotel. It's like, it was like not landscaping, but it was, I forgot what it was actually, roofing. Something dealing with roofing and ceiling, get into the attics, you do the, you reseal things and, little home improvement things. But I'm off for a week, and it wasn't bad. Of course, it took some time to get used to it, but it wasn't bad. And I did that, and I came back from the week. I'm like, all right, let me do my paperwork so I can be on, a better payroll. So, we won't have to work, so I can cover my own ass, right? So I get there, and it was real slow about it. They were talking to me real slow, saying that, we're kind of hesitant to hire you because we don't want to invest in you, and you end up leaving us. I said to myself, what do you mean? And that guy was like, I feel like, as soon as you find something better, you're going to leave. I'm like, who won't find anything better and leave? But granted, this is one of those jobs that people usually stay because they have nothing else. So they don't mind investing. They had people deportation dates on the board. So, put two and two together. So I ended up losing that job. They cut me a check that day, and that was it. So I'm back at square one. No vehicle, a little bit of money, and a lot of time. But what kept me going is the fact that I told myself you gotta do something. So I began picking up Blender once again, or just anything. I think during this time I started picking back up on my YouTube channel. Not this one, it's a different one. And I started doing it just because, honestly. So I started to work, and I started to try to change the scenery. So I either walk to the Starbucks, or get a ride to the Starbucks and go there, change of scenery, and do some work. And I did that every day because I had to do something. I couldn't just sit and do nothing. And I met a lot of people in the process. And one random day, I got a call from my mother saying that there is this opportunity at the local school, all the way back, where I didn't want to be. There's an opportunity at the local school. And yeah, you don't have to pay. At the local college, you don't have to pay. It's the such and such, I think it was like a 16-week program. Should I add that? I'm going to just say a 16-week program at the local college. And as soon as she told me that, my eyes lit up, because at this point in time, there was no light behind these eyes, just straight movement, and that was it. And did I mention, I ain't going to mention that just yet, but I'll mention that then. But there was a 16-week program at this local college, and it's going to be rough, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be opportunity, because that's what I seen. And my eyes lit up, because when she told me that, I was like, I got an opportunity that I can take full advantage of, and I will take full advantage of. And I did take full advantage of. So I get to the school, and I'm talking to everyone, faculty, anybody that's in position, even the student. I'm talking to everyone because I know where I'm at. I know who I want to be, and I'm going to still be who I want to be no matter what I am or where I'm at. I'm still going to be me. So I finished this program, and during this course of the time of this program, I was able to during this course of the program, I was able to get a lot of opportunity, be in places that I didn't thought I was going to be in at this point, talk to people, shake hands with people that I never thought I knew that I'd be shaking hands with, and give continuously opportunity. As of right now, I'm in a lot of opportunity, and I've just finished with the program as well. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see it. You'll follow me on Instagram, you'll see the images. I recently just finished like 3 days ago. And yeah, so I've been giving a lot of opportunity because I've been taking full advantage of what's been happening. And I'm saying and a lot, let me cut that out. I almost lost track of thought. That's what happened. But I got opportunity. Long story short, I got opportunity, and being where I was at, I felt like I was finally reaching my height to coming down here, but adjusting promptly. I think that I added that story to add a little sauce, but the meat and potatoes is this. I was here. I created here for me. Then something happened, and it had me trickling down. But as I was trickling down, I wasn't more so moping. I was sad. I was emotional. But I began to learn about me. Because you don't know your lows until you get there. So I was beginning to learn about myself. Strengthen myself. Strengthen my will. Strengthen my vision. Strengthen my mind. I've lost friends, close, down here. Relationships, down here. I've lost a lot down here. Family, down here. And during that time, I said, you know what? I'm going to learn down here. I was here. And I end up down here. And to wrap everything up, I put my pride aside. I knew what I had to do to get to where I want to go. I knew I was here, and now I'm down here. I had to plan, so when I get here, I'm going to surpass here and go even higher, so I never be down here again. I put my pride aside. I was growing to become a teacher. Fell back to a student. I can be a damn good teacher because I'm always a damn good student. I put my pride aside. Things happen to everyone. Things happen to you. Things happen to me. But who are you going to be when they hit the fan, when you have nothing, when things are looking rough, you are on your back, you're losing friends that was close to you, you're losing relationships that was close to you, losing family that was close to you. Who are you when these things happen? Put your pride aside. Think, process, adapt, adjust, digest. Make you stronger. Figure out who you are when you're up here and down here. Can you be the same? I had so many opportunities to throw my life away. Alcoholism was knocking at the door. Knocking at the door. It got to the point where I was just drinking just to drink. I was drinking and I find myself a lot of things was knocking at the door. But see, when you strengthen your mental down here, you start to notice these patterns and things. I seen that I have opportunity. I seen I can take full advantage. This can be my out. And if it's not my out, then I'm not done. That means there's something else. When I lost my job twice, again, when I lost the job that I started the week, thought that was going to be my out. I was going to be able to make some money, save up. I lost that. I wasn't done. So, do something. I don't know. I got to the end because what I wanted to talk about was going to take like 30 seconds. Put your pride aside. Your fear of being a student is stopping you. You think you're so high up here that anybody up under you, you just leave behind. No, you got to be able to appreciate all of that. Because then you can start helping people under here. Instead of looking down, you help them. And you're going to do this so much that it's going to be second nature. You're going to be helping people and you don't even realize it. You're going to be talking to people the whole time. You're just having a conversation and you're helping them. I'm gonna wrap up this video and end it with put your pride aside. Put your pride aside. Put your pride aside. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid to be a student. Don't be afraid to start over. Don't be afraid. Plan by critically thinking. Put your emotions aside. Put your likes and dislikes aside. Do what needs to be done. Now, there's gonna be times you're gonna go through some things you've never seen before. Of course, I left a lot of things out because this video would have been too long. But there's things you're gonna go to, and everything you're gonna go through. Treat it as in a learning moment. A learning moment. Continue to learn. Never stop learning. Because you don't know who you can help through the process that you went through. I'm finally able to give myself opportunity. And it feels good. Now I'm being paid to attend things. Now I'm putting myself in position to surpass my limits. Surpass what I thought was my peak, because I thought I was there. But mentally, I already know I've already skipped that. Love one another, man. Appreciate where you at. And then when you get out of that moment when you get out of that state, realize who you were while you was in that state, and never end up there again. I got nothing else to say. I love you. I appreciate you for listening. I know this video was longer than I expected. It kind of got all over the place. But yeah, I can be a damn good teacher because I'm always a damn good student. Put your pride aside. Do not get pride and self-respect mixed up. You can have self-respect, but pride is the problem. Pride will hinder you. Pride will have you doing things and saying things that don't match up with your vision. Be mindful. Look at yourself. Look at who you are when you're here. Look at who you are when you're here. When you're mad, when you're down and out, who are you? I was me, down and out. There's a lot of things around me that was, influencing. And yes, you get caught up in those moments. But once you come back, figure out who you are and who you want to be. That's the end of my story, and that's the end of this video. Again, I appreciate you. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, and have a good night. And I see y'all in the next one.